today I'm going to show you how to make chicken tortilla soup. So this is the last recipe that you're going to make in the safety and sanitation unit. And the purpose of you doing this lab is that you practice preventing cross-contamination, because we're using chicken and some vegetables and whatnot. And then also to practice your cooling and then reheating. So let's get started. I have gotten your mise en place together. You will have time in class to get the mise en place together, meaning cut your chicken, measure your vegetables, all that good stuff. So the first thing is, the best part of this is your chicken, okay? And I've already cut it. Each group is going to get 2 chicken breasts. This chicken breast is kind of bigger than what you're going to get in class, but I've already cut it into smaller pieces. The reason why you cut it into smaller pieces is so that it cooks faster, okay? So in your recipe, I'm going to show you, you're going to have a day to prep, and then this would be essentially like day 2, you start cooking your soup. So in your pan, you're going to heat just a tablespoon of oil, which I have done, and you're going to put it on a low heat, and then just until it gets a little smoky, and then you're going to cook your chicken. It should sizzle, and you're going to cook your chicken until you see no pink, okay? So when you start this, you're just going to kind of move it around, like so. Okay? And just kind of keep an eye on it until it's just no pink. So you see lots of the flesh color here. It's going to take probably about 2-3 minutes. So we'll be right back. Alright, so the chicken is all cooked, and you can see a lot of liquid already came out of the chicken. You don't need to drain that. It's not fat. It's just moisture. So to that, you are going to add a half an onion, and you're going to cut it really small. Now, a lot of times students don't like onion, but that's where you get all your flavor. So it's really important that you add that. Don't reduce the amount or anything, and I'm going to put that right into your pot. Alright, now you're going to cook the onions just until they get soft, and that's going to take just a couple of minutes. So at this point, my heat is on a 4. I'm just going to raise it up to a 6, just to start that process. And what speeds the process up even more is if you put the lid on it. Now, as we wait for this to cook, if you notice, I'm using a medium-sized saucepan. If you use a big stock pot, it's not going to make that much soup, so don't get the big one. And if you get the small one, it's not all going to fit. So the medium saucepan is going to work just beautifully. Alright? So we'll be right back, and I'll show you those cooked onions. Alright, so we're back, and you can see that the onions have softened up, and you can see that they're somewhat translucent, and that's what you want, not golden brown. If they're golden brown, that means you cooked it too much. At too much of a high heat. So at this point, I am going to add the jalapeno and the garlic. I'm adding a little extra garlic. This is, savory cooking, so I really like garlic. So it only calls for a tablespoon, and I'm probably going to add 2 tablespoons just because I really like that garlic flavor. And then you need a whole cut jalapeno. Now, I don't like things very spicy, but if you do, keep the seeds in there. I took the seeds out. And both of them just need to be finely chopped. And you're just going to sprinkle it around. And this is again more flavor. Okay. Now if you like a lot of flavor to enhancement, you can, every time you add an ingredient, you can give a splash of salt. And that's going to add a lot of flavor to your soup. I don't want to increase my sodium intake, so I'm not doing that. But in a restaurant, every time they add an ingredient, they give it a spouse of some salt. So now we're going to wait for this for a minute or 2 just to get soft, so we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back, and if you see this, it's all the vegetables are nice and soft, and it should be very fragrant. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to add some chicken broth. Now, chicken broth, we buy bouillon, and either you'll see it in your class as a cube or in a little packet, okay? And the ratio is, when you're making it, you need to mix 1 little pack or cube to 1 cup of water, alright? And it's important that it's warm when you're adding it, because then it will dissolve. So we need 3 cups of chicken broth. So I put 3 cups of water in here, in the microwave, and then I put my 3 bouillon cubes right in there, and I made my chicken broth. If you wanted to save time and kind of dovetail tasks, you could add your 3 cups of just water, and then stick 3 packets of bouillon right into there, and it'll do the same exact thing, but I wanted you to see the visual, all right? So you're gonna add this right to there. Okay, that's very, very flavorful. Now, if you were wanting to add a different kind of bouillon, they come as beef too, and I would just add another dimension of flavor, but since chicken tortilla, we're gonna use chicken, okay? So then you need 8 ounces of diced tomatoes, and it's just from a can, not fresh. And the reason why is these are just more preserved and they're already soft. And then you're gonna use some black beans for another dimension of texture, and just you need 8 ounces. And this is also from a can. So then what you're going to do is you're going to stir this around, okay? And in your recipe it says to cook for 20 to 25 minutes. So in class it's important that you move very quickly throughout this process because it really should cook for that full amount of time to develop the flavors. So I'm just going to turn this down to probably about a 5, and I'm going to keep the lid closed, and every 5 minutes I'm just going to kind of stir it, all right? If you see that it's getting lots and lots of bubbles, then obviously reduce it down and keep an eye on it. But you don't want to keep this off. You want to let it cook, and you only need to stir it for a second every 5 minutes or so. All right, so we'll be right back. All right, so for a topper for your soup when it's all finished on day 2 is you can, you're going to get 1 corn tortilla or flour tortilla per pair, and it adds a nice dimension of crunch. So what I did was I just cut this into tiny little shreds, and you want them thin, and then you're going to put it in an oven and just cook to a golden brown, probably about 350. It will take, if your oven's preheated, about 5 to 7 minutes. So I'll show you that one. All right, so the soup is done, and you can see that, and well, you'll be able to smell it in class, that it has a very fragrant smell. It's very, this one's perfect. Cook for about 25 minutes. So I'm just going to turn this off. Okay. Then what you're going to do in class is you're going to put it in a baggie, label it. And this is a 2-person job. One partner is going to hold it. The other partner is going to pour it. Now these bags are good bags. They're quality bags that it will not burn through. So don't worry about that. You might want to double bag it just to prevent it from opening up or whatnot when it's in the fridge. Then what you're going to do is you need to cool it. And according to the food code, you have a total of 6 hours to cool your food. So essentially this will, like, you let it set for a couple minutes. And the cooling rule is you want to cool from 135 to 70 degrees within 2 hours, and then from 70 to 41 degrees in 4 hours. And that's if you're working in a restaurant kitchen, and obviously a larger amount. Now this small amount is probably not going to take that long to cool, but we can't take this hot soup and put it directly in the fridge, or everything else in the fridge will go into the danger zone. So you use, and this is recap from Culinary Basics, an ice bath, and you'll just set your soup right on there in the baggie, and it will cool, and then your teacher will put it in the fridge once it's cooled down because you'll be gone at this point, okay? So then now we're going to flip-flop. You have your soup. We're on day 2 or day 3 now because you're your mise en place day, your prep, your cooking day, and then now you're going to reheat. So now your soup is in a bag. You're going to pour it into here, and when you reheat food, because you're reheating it, it needs to be reheated to 165 degrees. So to make it easy so you don't have to bring out a thermometer, as long as you bring it to boiling point, you know boiling point is 212 degrees. So as long as it's lots of bubbles, and this is not, because you know, you see my whole thing, but you know that you're way above 165. Okay, so let it boil for like a minute or 2, keep the lid on, and then you are good to go, because you only have to have it at 165 for 15 seconds, and then you can let it lower to 135. That's hot food only. So then you're ready for service. Okay? So then what you're going to do is you are going to, once it's reheated, you're going to take a lime and you're going to just squeeze it into your soup. And you can do it directly in there. And you're going to do a whole lime. And this just adds a nice dimension of flavor, and it's adding your acidity. And the reason why you do it when you reheat is just so that lime flavor does not cook off. And that's why we didn't do it on day one. Okay. And stir that around. Okay. So I've also taken the toppers out of the oven. They're nice and crunchy and crisp, so they're perfect. And then you'll be given the opportunity for some Monterey Jack cheese as a topper and some cilantro. Okay. So you're going to take your soup. You'll get an insulated cup to keep it nice and hot. Okay. So I put some in there. You can do it any way you want. So you're going to put some cilantro on there. Then I'm going to put a little bit of cheese. If you don't want cheese, it's fine. And then a little bit of the tortilla. And you're good to go. Thank you. Enjoy.